Police say an employee at this Old Navy was recording the girl inside the dressing room here. Even worse, she's far from the only victim. This lawsuit claims Old Navy let it happen. Bargain shopping brought a Hanford family to Old Navy. A disturbing invasion of privacy brought them to police. Their 11-year-old daughter noticed something fishy in the dressing room, and investigators discovered an employee had caught her changing on camera.
They're horrified, and and they're working through it. But the police department has been great, and we were thankful that she came forward, to stop it, or this would have continued.
That's right. She wasn't the only customer caught on camera. Hanford police say Jesse Gratton's phone had several videos of customers in the dressing room.
We don't know because we don't know how many have been downloaded, and the problem is that the faces of the individuals are not on the videos. Mostly it's just body parts.
Attorney Warren Pabujan filed the family's lawsuit against Old Navy, accusing the store of missing red flags and warnings about what Gratton was up to. Police say the videos they've seen go back for weeks, but Gratton was on the job for about 6 months. ABC 30 legal analyst Tony Capozzi says the longer it was going on, the more trouble for the retailer.
Old Navy may not have been aware of the others, but in their supervision of their employees, this should have come to their attention.
I reached out to Old Navy for comment, but so far I have not heard back from them. Police say they know that there are at least 7 more victims, and they're hoping that parents will come forward. In Hanford, Corin Hoggard, ABC 30, Action News.
Pio.
An explosive sound brought Cardell Young out of his Southwest Fresno home. The first face he saw belonged to Vance Sams, his daughter's boyfriend.
He asked him what was that, in which Mr. Sams replied that it was a firework.
It was the 4th of July, so the claim made sense, but Young also quickly noticed his daughter's ex on the ground. Raymond Fisher had stayed the night of July 3rd with Young. He didn't survive the 4th. And Young told Action News back then that Sams didn't seem to care.
I asked him, Vance, what did you do? What did you do? And he looked down and saw Raymond, and he just walked casually down the street like it was nothing.
Fisher had only come back to Fresno a few months earlier. Young told police Sams was jealous of his contact with his daughter, Sherry Young. On the morning of his death, Fisher was waiting for Sherry to drop off their 3 kids so he could take them to a family party for the holiday. But before he saw them, their mother's boyfriend arrived. Before Sams left the scene, another witness saw smoke coming from his clothes and described it to police.
What he described to me, a bulge in his back right pants pocket, which he believed to be caused by a firearm that was put in the back pocket.
Another witness told police she got a text from Sams saying he was going to kill Fisher. Investigators could never find any such text, but what they had was enough. Police arrested Sams 2 days later, and now, 14 months after that, a judge ruled Thursday there is enough evidence for him to stand trial for murder. Corin Hoggard, ABC 30, Action News. Rafael Pedrosa's crime is unforgettable for those who saw it. He slammed into this Nissan Pathfinder, then took off as it burst into flames, leaving witnesses to try and save the 5 people inside. A father and son got out, along with the son's girlfriend. Mother and daughter did not. But after accepting his punishment Friday, Pedrosa hoped the crime was not unforgivable, despite the deaths of 40-year-old Jacqueline Rivera and 11-year-old Aaliyah Chavez.
Please forgive me. I ask for you to forgive me.
That apology came only after the hearing ended. Pedrosa actually said nothing as the victim's family shared the grief he caused them that night last November, 5 days before Thanksgiving.
We cannot have any more parties or get-togethers because there's no joy in doing that anymore.
Pedrosa's blood alcohol content was 0.28 by the time police tracked him down, hiding under a bed in a home almost 4 miles from the scene of the accident. He admitted his crime quickly, and although he didn't speak to the judge in court, he wrote a letter expressing remorse. But Judge John Skiles took issue with a piece of the letter in which Pedrosa called his crime a mistake.
This was not an accident. This was a decision to drink to a level of intoxication that was over 3 times the legal limit.
When Pedroza finally broke his silence, his apology fell short of giving the victim's family peace. Through an interpreter, they let him know they wanted answers.
Once more, please forgive me. It was never my intention.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Why did he flee when this happened? He could have saved them. They could have been saved.
Pedroza never answered. He'll now serve more than 14 years in prison. Corin Hoggard, ABC 30, Action News. Next on Action News, Fresno police say an officer shot an armed teenager this morning. The threat that prompted the violent confrontation. Plus, fast food fight. Police officer injured after a suspect wrestled away his baton and tried to go for the officer's gun. And smoke from the rough fire choking residents in the foothills. How the fire is now affecting holiday weekend tourism in Kings Canyon National Park and the Hume Lake area. Action News AM Live Saturday starts now.
Number 1 in Central California. This is ABC 30 Action News AM Live.
Good morning, Central Valley. You're taking a live look from our Fresno Pacific University North Fresno campus Skycam. A beautiful, sunny, blue horizon there in northeast Fresno. I'm Corin Hoggard. Let's get right over to Ruben Contreras for first check of an AccuWeather forecast that looks really good for the weekend at least. New this morning, Fresno police say an officer shot an armed teenager this morning in west central Fresno. I was out at the scene near Cornell and Blythe, and Chief Jerry Dyer told me the trouble started with a carjacking at a nearby convenience store at about 2 a.m. The 17-year-old suspect threatened to kill a woman if she didn't give him her keys. Once she did, she called police, and an officer found her SUV within about 45 minutes. But the teen didn't give up easily. He drove away, crashed in a nearby neighborhood, then got out armed with a handgun. The officer fired 2 shots, hitting the suspect.
We have no indication from the officer or anyone else that the suspect fired. We did locate the gun with the hammerback. There was a expended shell casing in the handgun. I'm not sure when that occurred. That could have occurred earlier in the evening.
The suspect is now in critical condition at Community Regional, but Dyer says the boy should survive the gunshot. The officer is on paid administrative leave while police investigate the shooting. Also new this morning, a Fresno man is waking up in jail after sucker punching a police officer, allegedly. Police were called to a southeast Fresno McDonald's around 10:30 last night after a report of an employee physically fighting with the store manager. As an officer talked to the store manager, the employee, 23-year-old Tyler Deal, suddenly threw a punch. The officer fought back, but Deal took his baton and hit him several times. Witnesses say Deal also tried to yank the officer's gun out of its holster. The officer eventually got the upper hand and held Deal until backup got there. The officer was transported to CRMC with head injuries, but he is expected to be fine. Deal is now in the Fresno County Jail on felony charges. Another man is in jail this morning after leading Fresno police on a high-speed car chase. Police say Zachary Kinberger was pulled over by officers in central Fresno just after midnight. But before police got up to the driver's side window, Kinberger took off. They clocked him going just under 100 miles an hour while on Highway 180. Police say he got on the 41 and exited on Shaw and then ran a bunch of red lights before he stopped at Cedar and Shaw. He got out and ran away. Officers found him in a nearby motel. He's now being charged with driving under the influence and violating his parole. And 2 Fresno men are under arrest after police found meth and a gun while serving a search warrant. Happened overnight in southeast Fresno. Police say Alfred Ballesteros and Nicholas Gutierrez had crystal meth and a gun originally made only to fire blanks, but it was modified to fire live ammunition. Both men were arrested on drugs and weapon charges. Police say they both claimed to be Bulldog gang members. In the South Valley this morning, a toddler's in the hospital after falling out of a second-story window at a central Fresno apartment complex. The rough fire burning east of Fresno is causing big problems for Labor Day weekend. As Action News reporter Joe Ibarra shows us, the heavy smoke is forcing campgrounds to close, and some roads are still too dangerous to drive. That red and orange substance you see dropped from firefighting aircraft on many California wildfires like the rough fire, it's now available in some stores for consumer use. That colorful retardant is called Phoscheck, but the concentrated version now sold in stores is colorless, so you don't have to worry about your property turning bright red. Experts say you can spray it on your house and vegetation without causing any damage. Coming up, a cucumber recall, one specific type now being pulled from store shelves after a Californian died from salmonella-tainted produce. At least one person has died, more than 250 others are sick after a salmonella outbreak linked to cucumbers. Andrew and Williamson fresh produce cucumbers are now being recalled by the company. People in 27 states have reported getting sick. The cucumbers were imported from Mexico and sold under the limited edition label after August 1st. Health officials say salmonella is particularly dangerous for the elderly, infants, and people with weak immune systems. And the Kraft Heinz company has expanded a voluntary recall of Kraft Singles sliced cheese after receiving 2 new consumer complaints of choking in connection with a packaging issue. The recall started last month. It's now expanded to about 335,000 cases of Kraft Single American and White American cheese. Some customers have complained the thin, clear plastic wrap sticks to the individual slices, resulting in a choking hazard. Most Valley kids are back in the routine of school, and that means their activity level goes up, but that also means local hospitals are seeing a surge in school-related accidents. Action News anchor Margot Kim shows us what parents need to know about preventing injuries in and out of class. Valley Children's Hospital and Safe Kids Central California offer resources on childhood injury prevention. We have a link to that information on our website, abc30.com. Very encouraging news this morning for Fresno Fire Captain Pete Dern, 6 months into his recovery. This is video from the last time we saw him during a news conference 2 months ago. Fresno Fire Department now says Dern will be discharged from Community Regional Medical Center this coming Wednesday. He was moved from the burn unit to the rehab unit just a few weeks ago. Since then, he's been in physical therapy 6 to 7 hours a day. Dern was burned on 70% of his body when he fell through a roof fighting a fire back in March. Still ahead, staying alive in the woods. Medical students come to Fresno for hands-on lessons for wilderness survival.